Oh, we're
Hey,
just here making each other laugh.
that's what we're here
Like,
for.
it
I make
is, right?
myself laugh all day, so I don't.
Oh my God,
I'm
so do
out.
I. I am
I'm,
like the funniest person I know.
that's how I feel. Yeah, I know I am. So,
I'm cruising around my house, like making jokes and
yeah,
laughing and like, yeah, I crack
it's
myself up.
it's pure joy, man. It's pure joy. I know. This is funny actually. Before we started, there are these things. I wish I actually had one with me because I would show it. And then we'd probably go viral because they're viral. But anyways, they're mystery dumplings.
Uh-huh.
And they're at this store called Five Below. And I have made my poor husband, who doesn't even know what the hell he's looking for, nor does he give a shit, go find these dumplings. Okay. And they're so cute. And I made like this video of me being like super Southern, like, what did I get? You know, like, I mean, very exaggerative, just ridiculous. And I'm like dying. And I'm sending them back and forth to my friend who's in Italy right now. And so she's like getting joy from hearing this like ridiculous, absurd, just being silly. Anyway, so I was getting the kids together because Blake took them out. That's why I'm recording out in my kitchen. And
Oh yeah. You can see
yeah,
stuff in
and
the background.
yeah, surprise, it's different. But yeah, so he took them out because this Draco's still been crazy with, it's just fun times. And I looked at him and I said, man, our kids, when they sit down with our therapist, they're going to be like, my mom and dad were the funniest motherfuckers to ever live. And he's like, yes, they will. Now, they might
Yes,
say
they
some
will.
other things, but they'll definitely be like, we had the best parents, man. Like, they were just so funny. Because, I mean, we are just so ridiculous. Like, I'm recording, like I'm making videos with Nola of these stupid little dumplings and I'm like
Yeah.
talking crazy and she's like, my mom don't talk like it. It's just so funny. So anyways, so if they remember anything, at least they know their parents were funny.
I love that. I think that's so needed. We need more laughter. And we need to
Yeah.
make fun of ourselves. Not everything can be so damn serious. So good for you
Yeah.
for being a good parent that way.
I think my home was full of laughter and full of joy and a lot of noises. Now that I'm older and have words for that, we were probably undiagnosed a lot of things. So it was really just a stim. So people were stimming, like singing 24/7, and making up stupid songs. But those are my fondest memories. And so I carry that on. And even though Blake is a very quiet person, but he's very funny when he feels safe. He's a funny guy. Like, he's hilarious. And like, his dad's really funny too. Like they come from they make fun and joke. And so like, he may not be the loud part, but like his funniness and the humor. So it's a balance. So there's all kinds of, this is a comedy show. Like, it's like a booby trap when you walk in the house. And that's how my home was when I was growing up. So I liked it. Minus the trauma.
Like mine was kind of serious as a
Yeah.
kid. Yeah.
There
were times, but overall I'd say it was a little boring.
Yeah. There's not a boring day here.
So.
My neighbors hate us probably, so I feel sorry for most
Have you
people.
had noise complaints yet?
No. We do pretty good. Yeah, even with the screaming and all the fun, it's joyful.
Yeah.
No noise complaints. I think there's a few people that moved in and they play a lot of like music, and I play music too, but I mean, I know that I live in a building, right? So like I keep the music down. So no, they were full on having a party. Like, we could join in the hallway and like just keep going with their party, and you can smell their party, right? And this is like a very like
their party.
Yeah, you can smell the
Got
party.
it.
And this is
a Snoop Dogg in the house.
A little, and I felt like Martha because this is a bougie place. Like, really, like,
nothing wrong with that.
It's a bougie little like area and a building, and like you don't like, you know what I mean? It's not like the party place, but hey, and so I've laughed so hard because the emails that come out that are like, hey, friendly reminder, don't play music really loud, or like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, hey, if we can get, no one's sent an email out about keep children quiet, so I'm fine with it. Or like, I haven't got CPS called on me for, any raised voices. So I'll take it. I'm like, whatever. I've had to tell Magnolia, I'm like, bro, you can't like scream. I was like, come on, like, you can't. You're going to get the wrong impression here, man. Like, I get it. Be vocal. She's a very loud person too. And so is Draco. They're very vocal people, and like, they like to make noise and say things and scream. And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, like your screams could be taken a little wrong. So let's let's dial the screaming down. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's whatever. And then honestly, the less I give a shit about it, the worse it is. I don't think anyone hears anything.
Yeah.
To be honest, I just don't. And it's not that bad. So whatever.
Well, they come by it. I mean, you're very vocal. So
Yeah.
it doesn't surprise me. So fun times. That's good though.
You can't be shy here.
No, you cannot be.
Shy don't live here. That's for sure.
I don't live here. Should get you like, welcome. Shy don't live here.
I know. I should make that a doormat. Oh my gosh.
You should. Gosh
Or like
dang.
a wreath.
We need to write these ideas down because we've come up with some really good ones.
I'll remember. I'll put it in my phone.
Like a shirt.
Because
Yeah.
yeah.
We need to start our t-shirt line with our sayings.
I know. That's what the ChatGPT told me to do, actually. So I don't know. I'll take it.
Hey, we've talked about it. Maybe there's some truth to this. I mean,
speaking of
ChatGPT can't be wrong. I'm joking.
No, ever, never, right? No, I laugh. I saw this thing, and then I'll shut up about the internet memes. But it's like a ChatGPT chained to a bed, and a person walks. It's a person pretending to be ChatGPT, like me, like me walking in, or me chained to a bed, and you come in and you go, "I need a new resume. Rework it, write it, fix it," and just chats like just like personifying the way that people use ChatGPT, and it's like, I need another one. Make more. No, better, bigger. And it's like, just
make it funny, make it witty.
Make it witty. Yeah, like punchier. I need a better click-through rate, or whatever. Like, fix my headline. And it's just really funny because it's like truly kind of how it works. I'm nice to the robot.
True. Yeah.
I mean, I'm very kind to the robot.
Yeah. And
I'm like, listen, robot. And I'm like, thank you. Or I'm like, good morning. Yeah. So anywho, it made me laugh. And so speaking of ChatGPT, that was really funny to like personify the robot. So
that's awesome.
Be kind to everyone, even the robot.
Be kind to the robot. Yeah. Well, it's learning from us. So if you want it to be kind to you, you should be kind to it anyway.
Life lessons.
Well, life lessons. Are you ready to jump into our topic today?
Yeah. Kick us off. Yep.
Okay. So I don't know what brought this on. Well, I kind of do. I know we did an episode, I don't know, probably 5 weeks ago at this point, about everything that you digest is really going to impact your vibration, right? Like we talked about content you may take in, people you're with, food you're eating, everything that's around you that you're taking into your energy is going to be a part of the vibration that you put out. And it got me thinking last night about how, the law of attraction is so talked about in mainstream at this point, right? And how you manifest. And I see this on my feed all the time on my social feeds, right?
Yeah.
Affirmations and, what you say to yourself. But the truth of the matter is that the universe is a mirror to your vibration, not your words, not your thoughts, not any of those things. It's a mirror to the actual vibrational energy. And the universe is never wrong. It's mirroring back to you what that vibration is. So I started thinking about this, and like, if you really want to know where you're at, look at your life around you. Are you in successful relationships? Are you in a job that you love? Do you feel abundant? Do you feel strong? Do you feel good about yourself? Are you getting mirrored back with people in your life who bring you great connection and joy and peace and harmony? Or are you mirrored back with people in your life who you struggle with, right? Who challenge you, who, maybe you struggle to keep your energy up, So much of it, when I read a lot of the content that I see focuses on financial or money, and look at the money situation in your life, Are you able to spend money in the form of energy, meaning when you spend it, you feel good about it, you feel grateful for it at an authentic level without that fear energy underneath. And then on the opposite side, are you able to receive with the same amount of gratitude and grace, right? Because everything has to have balance to it. So, really, what prompted this was an issue that I had last night where I've been vocal about this on the podcast. I have struggled with anxiety well over a
Mhm,
decade. Over 15 years ago, it was what I would call debilitating. And I've worked on it, worked
mhm,
on it, worked on it. It's gotten so much better. Last night, it was interesting. I was at a city council meeting where I had to do a presentation for my job, which is something that is not
mm,
uncommon. I do this.
yeah,
And I started to get nervous, like the anxiety came and my body started to shake, the things that happened, my voice felt
yeah,
like it was going to crack. And anyway, made it through the presentation, like did it, but I got in my
mhm,
car to come home and I'm by myself and I got so angry, like just fucking pissed, like at
mhm,
myself, at the fucking universe. I was fucking every person out there, my guides, God, Jesus, Buddha, you were all
mhm,
dicks. Let me just tell you about it. That's how I felt in the moment, right? I just
yeah,
let them have it. Because when
mhm,
I started to feel it come on, I was just like, I felt the sheer panic. And so what I did was I was like praying, like, please come and help me. Angels, guides, unicorns, dragons, whoever's out there. Well, it did. I made it through. It wasn't, but I never felt truly confident or comfortable in the situation
mhm,
the whole time. So after I felt this
yeah,
anger, and I had about a 45-minute drive home, and I just released it, right? I started to think about it like that is a direct mirror back to me. That's all the universe is a
yeah,
mirror back to me. And my prayer wasn't, it was my prayer was to get something, not be something. Those are
mhm,
two different things. My prayer in the moment of panic was get me something, make this different. It wasn't for me to shift my vibration, be something different.
mhm,
So I
yeah,
thought about that. I was just wanting them to do something for me in the moment, not let me be something completely different in my vibration. Does that make sense?
mhm,
And so I had this
yeah,
drive home and I started thinking, it's fine to have your anger because you got to feel your feelings, right?
yeah, for sure.
But, about halfway home, once I got the anger out, I started thinking, what is this showing me? There's still
Mhm,
a shadow in my own vibration that I have to shift internally, not through
mhm,
words, not through,
mhm,
prayer of, hey, you fix me, God, you, Jesus, fix
yeah,
me, you, Buddha, fix me, whoever you're praying to, you, universe, fix me,
yeah,
asking them how to help me shift me. That's a whole different
mhm,
thing, right? I thought about that a lot. So that's why I texted you last night and thought, I think we should touch on this topic as a follow up to not only what you're digesting, but how what you're seeing in your sphere is reflecting back to you truly where your vibration is, because it can't be any other way.
mhm, yeah. No, I loved it. When you texted me this last night, it was totally spot on with exactly things that I have gone through this week. Um, and I'll share that, but I love your story. I love what you're saying because you're right. Like you've been in this career, you've been in this high level, you've been in this position for a while now. Like this isn't new news. And I know how many of these city councils that you've been to, attended, prep for, and come home blah. Like this is not, for those out there listening who don't know, I mean, this isn't like the first or second time. This is like the 100th. So I think
Yeah.
that it's a really cool thing though. One, you felt your emotions, you felt the anger, you allowed yourself to, like we say, this is a journey. This isn't, you're not at this destination, and it showed you something and you were able to feel all of those emotions, go through all of those emotions, and then have that introspection about, okay, so what is this trying to teach me, instead of sitting in that same emotion of I hate you, universe, I hate you, why did you put me into this, or why didn't you help me? And then today you're having a whole different conversation. You're now like, okay, I see that. I see this now. How, show me what I need to know. Help me understand. Give me that clarity and confirmation, or whatever, however you want to move forward with that. But instead of it, you're not still on the podcast this morning talking about how everybody let you down and that this sucked and that you don't understand. And I think it's really cool. I mean, I hate you went through that, but I'm like
No,
glad that you're
yeah.
sharing this and the
Yeah.
lesson from it, because it's really cool to show, like, even in those moments, like for me, the feeling that I got from it, I don't know if this is what you are needing to work on. But worthiness came up for me when I was thinking about it. Like I try to put myself in your shoes too, like we've talked about, like, okay, well, how would I feel? Or maybe how is she feeling in that moment? Or if it was me in those situations, and I've been in those situations and I've felt similar feelings before. And for me, it usually ends up being like that imposter syndrome or worthiness or something showing up around uncomfortability. Sometimes I've even felt that way depending on what information I'm sharing. Am I even aligned with that information? Like, does it even match my vibration of what I'm saying to people? Like, do I match the message that I'm giving? Is it authentic to me? And I feel that often in my career because Tressa and I share a similar career, and in marketing, you think about it. And right now in my role, I market a lot of brands. I don't market just one brand. I mean, I work for a brand, but I deal with different clients and I deal with different product types and different offerings. And it's around money and finances and different ways to improve finances. And so it makes me think, okay, am I even comfortable? And I can tell when I'm even writing or talking to clients, if I'm writing a piece for a client, or even if I'm talking with a client, like in a call or whatever, I can feel now that you're talking about it, it's kind of showing me, okay, this makes sense why I might feel nervous in some of those calls, or maybe even why
Mhm.
am I even aligned with what they're talking about? Or is this something that I feel comfortable writing in? Am I even aligned there? Like it doesn't always have to be my own worthiness. Is it something else that doesn't match? I really love this example because depending on the person and the situation and the viewpoint of this, you could look at it from different ways of what that shadow was presenting to you.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head because it doesn't take long if you want to. Once you feel the emotion, and I did feel the raw emotion of being angry,
Hmm.
the emotion goes through your body quickly, right? When you don't suppress it,
Yeah.
you feel it for its full energy. And, what I did was once I felt it and got home, I even had a few things come to me of what it was, right? And you hit the
Yeah.
nail on the head. It is worthiness. It is worthiness 100%. And this morning when I got into my meditative state, or do a meditation every morning,
Hmm.
it was just shown to me. It was like laid out. I don't know how to exactly
Yeah.
describe it, but it was like I saw this image of me as a little girl. And I remember this.
Hmm.
I mean, this is something I've been, I thought about it. I think about, I tell the story that my anxiety started or whatever you want to call it at 39, 40. That's not true. This is something I've dealt
Hmm.
with a long time ago because what they showed
Yeah.
me was this scene that I'd forgot about. And I think I was 7th grade, 7th, 8th grade. I was middle school. I was
Mhm,
living with my dad at the time and I played basketball. And let me just tell y'all,
mhm.
sports not for Tressa, not good. Okay. And I remember not wanting my dad to be there. I didn't want him to come to my game
Mhm.
because my
Yeah.
value system that I'd already established by that age was like the way I perform, what I look like, how I do
Mhm.
equals how much somebody loves me, right? That's
Yeah.
especially masculine energy. And there's lots of reasons why
Mhm.
in my trauma history, but
Yeah.
they showed me that scene and there was I remember my dad snuck into the gym. I'll never forget it. I don't like consciously know if I ever saw him, but he came into the gym, he was watching me. I made a basket for the wrong team. That's how bad I was. So bad. I just am not a sports girl.
Ah.
And so at the end of the game, I obviously knew he was there and I was so upset. I just remember feeling
Mhm.
devastated about this. And then he saw it and what does he think of me? He was so kind. And just in the softest voice, he hugged me and he
Mhm.
said, "Hey sis, I don't think sports are for you. Let's find something else." No,
Yeah.
I don't feel he was judging me. I was judging how he would respond,
Yeah.
right? And,
Mhm.
it was great. I got into dance and I was really great at dance. I enjoyed it for my whole high school career, but that started a long, long time ago. Can you imagine? Like,
Mhm.
I didn't want, and it's people who I value, who I have a
Mhm.
relationship with. I don't want them to see me fail because I feel like that's associated to love. And last night,
Yeah.
there was another director there, but it was also the entire council was men. And I think I'm still triggered to
Mhm.
some degree by the masculine energy. I mean,
Yeah.
it just the truth, you know? And
Mhm.
so it just, now that I know, like even after recognizing it this morning in my meditation, like I felt like my guides were like, you're 90% there. Just the acknowledgement of it is 90% because so often
Yeah.
we don't want to acknowledge our own limitations. And that's what I mean
Oh,
by
yeah.
looking at your life because I see
Mhm.
people all the time say these words like, and they're not doing it through the lens of authenticity. So it can't match their vibration. I'm meaning
Yeah.
like, I don't give a shit what other people think of me. You know, I'd never let a man treat me like that. I
Mhm.
value myself. I am worthy. But the actions outside of them show a completely different story to the words that they're saying, right? They
Yeah.
don't match to the words. That means that their
Yeah.
vibration is sending out a different signal. And when you don't have the ability or the willing, you have the ability, let me correct that. When you don't have the
Mhm.
willingness to look inside and start there, because that's where it always starts, you have no chance of changing it. Your life
No.
will not shift, period.
No. No.
No.
No, I agree. I this is, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I go through this all the time. It's like, okay, well, what am I learning now, or whatever.
Same.
But it's, hey, I ain't mad at it. You're right, because it's just the acknowledgement, and you're so spot on. Because I feel like, we've talked about this a couple episodes ago when I had my session with Metatron. I think the hardest thing for me in that whole session with you was when I had to think about my home environment not feeling safe. And I was like, what do you mean? And once I started acknowledging that, like everything just started to domino in a beautiful way. Like things just loosened, and I had the body work done. And when I was in the body work session, the octopus came through down my back and
Yeah.
breaking all this karmic stuff. Like, but it just, honestly, I would have never, I mean, like it was like boom, 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 just even the thought and the rewire of that thought and then the acknowledgement of it and thinking, okay, it's then and here and this makes sense and duh, duh, duh. Like once you start to recognize things like, I agree with you when you say like nothing is good or bad.
Yeah.
Give it that feeling. You put that emotion onto something. And so for me, in that moment, it felt a little icky because it was uncomfortable to think of it that way. But then once I did acknowledge it, I could honor it and honor that time in my life and honor the people and the tools that they had in their tool belt at the time. But it's not about them. It's about me. And like I talked about it a couple episodes ago about forgiveness is for me, not for them. And so once I could acknowledge, forgive, and start moving forward, so many things in my life started just in a freaking 4-week time period. I haven't received $1 million. I'd love to, but so far all it did is just my feelings are different, like
Mhm.
those type of shifts have happened for me. And I've had other wins and a lot of abundance in various forms flow into my life. And things just started to ship and shaped and ship. Wow, I can speak. Shift and shape. And it's setting me up. What I believe is setting me up for something really big to land in my life because I needed to clear all the stuff out that I was just living in my subconscious and like really deep and embedded into my familial line and in karmic cycles that I was carrying around that weren't my burdens to carry anymore. And it's just been a really cool thing for me, just acknowledging it, the difference that it's made.
Yeah, I agree. I truly believe that's 90% of what you have to do is the acknowledgement. And something you said I want to touch on that so often as humans, your internal feeling, your internal belief has to shift first. We are
Mm-hmm.
so programmed to believe like, I will feel better when I get the
Oh,
house, when
yeah.
I get the job, when I get the
Yep.
lover, when I get my best friend, when I lose 50 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work like that.
Mm-mm.
It never works that way. When the feeling
Mm-mm.
truly shifts, the vibration shifts, your vibration shifts, and then the outside mirrors that. It doesn't work the
Yep.
opposite way, you know? And
Mm-mm.
so, how many people do you know, like you think about wealth, you think
Mm-hmm.
about some of these stars, you think about Robin Williams, for an example, they are not
Yeah.
immune. Money doesn't make them
No.
immune from tragedy and loss and
No.
whatever he felt,
Mm-mm.
that
Oh,
caused
no.
him to decide to
Yeah.
take his own life. Like
Yeah.
we're from an outsider's perspective, I hear this all the time when somebody commits suicide. My God, it looked like they had the perfect life. But it's the internal stuff that matters,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So you got to start to feel safe and comfortable in the situations that you're in. Money's an easy example of that. Like, if you go in and you look at your bank account and you look at the balance, and you're typing it in on your phone or however you're going to look at it digitally, and you have this sense of fear. Oh my God, what balance am I going to fear? That is your energy you're putting into that, right? But if you go
Yeah.
in with gratitude and you know that everything is serving you for your highest
Mhm.
good, the balance can be the same, but you're going in with a different energy,
Yeah.
right? And that makes a huge difference. It's no different than like what you're digesting. I thought
Mhm.
about this today. I went to grab something. I didn't want anything fried today. So I ran to the
Mhm.
deli and they had macaroni and cheese. I haven't had macaroni
Yeah.
and cheese in I don't know how long. So I got me a
Yeah.
little scoop and I went and ate it
Yeah.
and I enjoyed every damn minute of that macaroni and cheese. And
Mhm.
I could have thought, because my programming around that would be, oh, this is gonna, this is awful. This
Carbs.
is going to
Oh,
my
yeah.
waste.
Mhm.
Carbs,
Yep.
all the things. And I'm like, no, I'm
Mhm.
just gonna appreciate it and enjoy it. And it brought back some memories of my grandma when we used to make craft, and I felt
Yeah.
joy in what it
Mhm.
brought to me, the way it tasted. And part of the problem, I think about this with what happened yesterday. And honestly, I shouldn't be shocked that it happened because your body
Mhm.
always knows before your mind. Like
Yep.
even yesterday, I could feel like, am I going to get anxious? I was thinking those thoughts and I
Mhm.
started to dialogue what I was going to say in my head. Well, that means I'm completely not in the present moment. Because why am I
Yeah.
dialoguing something when I'm sitting here feeding my dog dinner before I go when I'm not even there? I took myself out of the present moment and was in an
Mhm.
anticipatory energy about
Yeah.
it. And then I'm fucking
Yeah.
surprised that it came. Come on, you know better.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
saying that you know better, Tressa. Of course it came.
Yeah.
If you were
Well,
working with a
duh.
client, that's exactly what you'd say. Well, sister, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You did that.
That's so funny. So the thing that happened to me this week, it's not my personal story, but I have a friend, and as soon as you texted me, I'm like, I literally just told my friend this, like word for word. So I'm like, okay, yeah, we're meant to talk about this today.
Yeah.
They are at their in-laws in Italy. And so my friend cannot speak English. She can speak English,
Italian.
sorry. Italian, yeah, she can speak Italian and they don't speak English. And so she's already she's an empath, she's very hypersensitive, she can feel a lot of emotions. And honestly, I think she feels even deeper because that's truly some of the trauma that she went through as a child is feeling it. Like she did have individuals who verbally expressed it, but a lot of it was by emotion. And, as I've been learning a lot from my own traumas and challenges or lessons, whatever word you want to put on that, um, you know, me reading the room first was a form of protection to gauge the energy to see how I needed to show up in that moment. And I know that that's what my friend is doing. And I know, and she knows because we've had these conversations. Like
Mhm.
I can already I tell like what's happening. I already knew this would probably happen. And they just really shared with me like their feelings around being there, and then they're talking about like how they can't go get in a car and they can't go drive and do things for their kid, and that all these other people are taking care of their kid and they're doing things not exactly the way they would do it. And they're listing off several things that are just really making them upset. And I know a lot of it is around, holidays, and part of the holidays, equals like the relationship with their great grandmother who's no longer living. And with that situation, they associate Christmas, Thanksgiving, and the joy of that to that parent. Well, sorry, their guardian. It's their great grandmother that no longer lives. So, with that, there's all these emotions, right? And then they're in this other space. They're not in their home. They're out of their home. They're out of their country. They're out of their customs, their
Yeah.
culture, and they can't replicate they feel in this moment, they can't replicate the same joy that their guardian made them feel in that moment growing up, right? And they're expressing all these things, okay? Well, one, they're like, well, I shouldn't get my hopes up. They're like, why do I do this to myself? Like, I have all this stuff I envision. I have all this stuff I plan out. And, they're going on and on having this conversation about it. And then they talk about crying and they're like, I've cried and I feel like I shouldn't have cried. And now I'm making my husband feel guilty and all this stuff. So it's a very layered situation, right? And the first thing I responded with is like, one, I'm glad you cried. I hate you cried, but I'm glad you cried because then that means you're not holding it in. You're letting it out, you're releasing. One, that's great. Two, you spoke. You're telling me, you're telling yourself, you're articulating things. You told your spouse, you shared with them anyways, how you're feeling. And I said, just that alone is you've got the ball going. But the first thing after all that, I said back to my friend is I said, but what is this teaching you right now? Because, before my dog started barking and got my mind off
Hi,
track,
Boomer.
like they're going crazy. So, but part of this too is like the relationship with their child, right? Then the second thing is the control. They are trying to control everything. Control's the number
Yeah.
one word that popped in my mind. I don't even need to go deeper than that. Control, like, is super surface, in your face, punch you in the gut, kind of like, this is what's going on here. And I expressed that. I'm like, you are now, I said, this is such a cool lesson to learn. And you're in this really cool place. I'm like, you can totally spin this a whole nother way right now. Like, you have this
Mhm.
opportunity. They're my friend and I'm very candid and this is our relationship. So I get to say whatever the hell I want. I don't care. Honestly, that's my new vibes for 2026. I have to live in authentically in my voice. This is what I'm doing here. This is what I'm doing there. Anyways, sidebar. But
I
I
love it.
told I said, hey, like, this is actually a really beautiful moment because you control everything and you feel like you need to control everything as a form of protection. It is a response from your childhood to keep things safe, to keep things protected. This is totally out of your comfort zone. I said, you're never going to learn if you're always comfortable. Like, you sit at home all the time, you're a homebody, and you like to keep things in an order and you like to do certain things and you have your eyes on your kids all the time, which is great. I mean, she's a wonderful parent and all, but like, this is now forcing you to see something like in your face. Like, you can't stop it. Like, it's here, and I expressed that. I'm like, what else do you think this is showing you? Like, how do you feel around the control? That's even part of why you imagine situations. As soon as you said that, Tressa, about like you were already talking in your head before you even got to
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
is part of her anxiety. She's already envisioning things. And so part of that is romanticizing. And there's nothing wrong with romanticizing life, but I think the value comes in romanticizing the present, not romanticizing like these ideas that don't totally exist. Because like, I think there's a difference, like when I think and manifest abundance or joy or whatever I'm trying to manifest, I don't know. We're on the topic of abundance, so that's just easy. I bring a feeling of joy and happy and hope, and I envision joy and happy and hope, and I envision this life and who I am and in receiving abundance, right? Like, to me, that's different than like, she's already romanticized what this trip's going to look like, what the moments are going to look like, what they're going to do, what they're going to think. Like, it's still control in my opinion. Like, you're already trying to control so much, so then when you get there, your expectations are already just crushed. And this is something this individual is doing to her spouse, her spouse's family, the country, for God's sakes, the town they're in. Like, they're never going to live up to this because they're already placed under all these expectations that don't exist, So I'll stop and let you speak some, but this is really, to me, showing her and I told her that I was like, this is mirroring you and all the stuff that you need to work on around your control and the trauma that you've gone through in this moment while you're there in this other country, in this place.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I mean, control always equals resistant energy, right? And so when you think about like what I did yesterday and what she does, right? She's thinking of very specific things in the
Mhm.
projection before she gets there. How will
Yeah.
this person interact? How will this look? How will this be? All of that energy is constrictive. And that's what I did yesterday, constrictive energy. So
Mm.
really what you should think about to manifest something is how would you feel? That's it.
Mhm.
Not what's it going to look like, not what material thing is going to come to make it,
Yeah.
but how would you feel if you felt love and connection with your family, if you felt joy, if you
Mhm.
felt like you could communicate, right?
Yeah.
How would that feel in your body, right? Not that X has to happen to make that happen, right? Those
Yeah.
are two different things. And so I think that's what you have to start to think about is if I got what I thought I wanted, how would it feel inside of me? How would my body feel? And
Mhm.
then pay attention. right? Pay attention to what's happening. Are you still feeling constrictive energy in part of your body? Because if you are, it's a sign you're not really feeling the way that it truly could feel. You've
Mhm.
still got a block, or you still have
Yeah.
an expectation in there that you're bringing in. And I think that's a very
Mhm.
valuable lesson. It's very control and desperate energy. It's great to, I thought I wrote this down today. To care deep is one thing, but to have
Mhm.
desperation in caring is a repellent, right? The universe will repel
Oh, yeah.
everything. There's two
Oh,
different
yeah.
energies, you know? And
Mhm.
so it's like that desperate energy that this is going to be a certain way. And there's also an
Oh, yeah.
underlying energy there too around like they remember things were a way they felt a way when this other person was alive. And without
Mhm.
that energy, it can't be replicated. And that's 100% true. But how do you
Mhm.
find joy in the new? We're so programmed with these Hallmark movies and how the holidays
Yeah.
are, right? It was really interesting. I had a client before Thanksgiving, and she has done so much work, and it's been so great to see her transform. But
Mhm.
she comes from a big family. She has a big family, and
Mhm.
she found herself 2 days before Thanksgiving she was in a session with me, and she was gonna be alone for Thanksgiving for the first time ever, and
Mm.
she was
Mhm.
struggling so bad because the
Yeah.
way she was brought up and how she's been with her own children and now all of her children are grown and she's got grandkids and her husband had to work. And I told her, I said, imagine because you have been working on yourself so much. Imagine if you reframe that to the universe gifted you this day. They gifted it to you. You can do
Mhm.
all the self care. You can set up the day how you want it to be. You
Yep.
can make it anything you want. Or you could
Mhm.
sit there all day and feel sorry for yourself that your kids are not there. Feel sorry for yourself that,
Mhm.
your family is all doing other things. These are choices you get to choose, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard around holidays, I think, because there's
Yeah.
so much programming around what a using quotes,
Mhm.
successful or happy holiday is. And it can be
Yeah.
so unique. And she even texted me happy Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving. And I think she was really enjoying her day because we kind of went through, hey, here's some things that you now have been gifted time to do that you
Oh,
haven't had
yeah.
the time to do. So I'm super
Mhm.
excited when she can come back and share that with me and see if that reframing helped her. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I know I was proud of myself. I was like, "Man," I told her that, "Look how good this day is," you know? Like, I was like, it showed me my own growth because 'cause you're right, like, being able to reframe it, and I hope that my friend can get to that place, I want the best for her,
yeah.
but, like, it was so cool because instead of reveling in the disgust and disappointment with her, the first thing I said is like, "Well, how can you take this and reframe or spin it around, or what can this look like?" And so I love that you shared that because it's true. Like, I've personally had to change my mindset. I've had a really fucking wonderful Saturn return and all the shit you wanna name and karmic whatever the fuck, and it's been a journey, right? And it's been pretty damn eventful. It's been since like 2023, folks. And so I've gone through all these things and it's 3 years of learning. And, this year was an accelerated learning for me, but it's really helped me. Now, am I human and do I get upset and feel emotions? Of course. But I do looking at the way that what can I take from this moment? What can I take from this lesson? What can I take from this experience? Because it's all happening for a reason and for my learning and understanding. And, I could have even manifested the situation, and if I'm not looking at it through this different lens, if I'm just focusing so narrow-minded or in restrictive energy, I'm not going to see what I've been asking for, or maybe, you know what I mean? Or like
Hmm.
or what I needed to know or what needed to be presented to me. And so I could have prayed for it too. You know what I mean? But if you're
Yeah.
just too busy looking at it through a closed mind or from that other perspective, you're not going to see it. And, that's why sometimes we have to go through lessons or experiences multiple times because we've got to learn. Eventually, you'll have to learn from it. You got to face it at some point. And that's usually why these things show up repetitively until you learn from it. It's just going to repeat, right? Until you
Yeah.
break it or you
Oh,
go through, you
100%.
understand it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, like, I think it's a beautiful thing. to be able to see like what the universe is mirroring to you, to me, to anyone, and what can I take from this experience for me, because it is for me.
Yeah. And it doesn't take me long after feeling all of that last night and kind of being gifted with this. You still have some shadows in your worthiness. And it was even a way that I asked or set my intention this morning. It shifted that quickly because one of
Yeah.
the things I asked for in my prayer was let me become someone. Let me become
Mm,
someone, not you
yeah.
make me feel. Let me become someone who only feels true anxiety in a true fight or flight situation. Then I need to. But
Yeah.
these situations aren't that. And that's
Yeah.
part of letting my central nervous system be safe in the
Yep.
parasympathetic. Let
Yep.
me become someone who gets comfortable in that system. That's different than
Mm-hmm.
you to. And you know what else I thought about was Myra and I love goddess Lake Shimi. She's the goddess
Mm.
of wealth, right?
Yep.
Every day I call in two goddesses, Goddess Kali, the goddess of time, and I
Mm-hmm.
ask that she give me divine timing in all directions, in all timelines, in all planes of existence.
Mm.
When I called in Goddess Lake Shimi this morning, I don't even remember how I've called her in, to be quite honest. I've just like called her in for wealth. I think I say something like that. But
Yeah.
instead, I said, let Goddess Lake Shimi, let my energy, let my body, let my soul, let my
Mm.
spirit, let my DNA feel comfortable in the energy of wealth. Because until that happens, there's
Mm-hmm.
going to be a ceiling to what that is for Tressa. And until
Mm-hmm.
that changes within, there will be a ceiling on what that is for Myra. That's a whole different
Mm-hmm.
way to call in that energy. And I just felt the intuition that if I keep doing that, it's not going to take long for it to show up for me. Because
Mm-hmm.
that one thing that happened last night shifted many things for me.
Oh
And,
yeah. That's what
you
I'm
know,
saying.
in
Exactly.
less than 24 hours. So it was such a gift.
Yeah.
Yet my immediate reaction was anger. And if I didn't feel the anger, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have gotten to the other side so quick.
Yeah.
All of those things have to have the balance.
Yeah.
So, anyway, good
I love it.
conversation. Yeah,
It was
me
good.
too. Yeah, very good. So, just one little challenge that I'm going to put out there because money's an easy one. Everybody wants money, but money is
Yeah.
truly just a vibration of energy. So, challenge yourself to get into a state of gratitude, true calmness, true where you feel in this calm, assertive, beautiful energy and go into your bank account and keep that vibration as you go into your bank account and start to
Mm-hmm.
recognize how you feel. If you start to feel anxious, give yourself grace, but keep practicing that so that when you go in and you look at the number, you can feel the difference in your vibration of what it used to feel like and what it feels like today.
Mm-hmm.
That's just one little way to practice this.
Yeah. 100%.
So, all right. Well, until next time, keep your vibrations way high.
And stay sassy.